Hello everyone and welcome to the top 8 of Grand Prix Atlanta 2012. The format is Legacy. The commentary box is stuffed full of Rich Hagan and Sheldon Menery, and we are getting ready for the quarterfinals featuring Darrell Ayers. There you see him with his Rug Delver deck up against Samuel H. Black, a storied pro, one of the best deck builders in the world, proving it yet again here with an innovative zombies list. We're away. Turn 2 for Ayers. It's going to be a nimble mongoose. Start the threshold counter at 0.
Sam Black doesn't do a lot of blocking in his deck anyway.
Stifle.
As we talked about.
It's like we prepared.
So it's basically like Sam has paid a life to wasteland himself.
A 1 blue mana land destruction spell.
I mean, I think fortunately for Sam, his deck operates on a very thin mana line anyway, so.
Hovering around the 1 mark for the most part.
1s and 2s are pretty good for him. So there is a swamp, not a dual land. The players have been given each other's deck lists, so they know what's coming. Sam Black knows that Darrell Ayers is running 4 wastelands, so getting a dual land probably less good. There's the Thoughtseize, and we see Spell Pierce, Tarmogoyf. Is that Fork Bolt up the top? No miracle for Sam Black. There's another swamp that he's peeled. And we're going to see if we can get the production staff over there, maybe get Sam's graveyard in the shot. His graveyard being moderately important. He's gonna try to run Bloodghasts and Grave Crawlers out of it.
Cabal Therapy. And we're going to see the Hiding Away Brainstorm.
Land Mongoose. And we see Ayers hanging on, has another Stifle. Vitigoris and Majors both have gone up 1-0 in their matches.
So there's Rug Delver 1-up over Goblins right now. And Majors with Esper Stoneblade 1-up over Belcher.
Still resolving the brainstorm, seeing what Darrell Ayers wants to hide away from the Cabal Therapy. Sam Black's going to get a good bit of information here. And obviously we're not going to be able to hear what he names. But he knew that was there.
Sure. And the other match in the quarters also has a leader. It is Ben Stark, who leads 1-0 over Fred Adelkamp.
There's the carrion feeder from Sam Black.
You will need some support to make that large.
And he's not doing any blocking anyway, so
yeah.
Here, that nimble mongoose is going to come in. Although sometimes, opponents forget that carrion feeder can't block. Ayers 5 cards in his graveyard, so he's not quite to threshold. Another mongoose. He's got a fetch land, and there's going to be a stifle cast soon, so Sam Black might be a little bit on the ropes here already. I mean, he's going to have 6 power coming his way next turn. Blood Artist. Which can block, but probably isn't going to.
Again, extraordinary to see that card find a home in such a powerful format. Such a little thing and such a small effect, apparently.
I've honestly been making quite a bit of rain with it in Commander since it came out, because you know, you play it next that can create a lot of creatures, and then it's die to the creatures or die to killing the creatures. And obviously things like Terminus and Halaberry are more popular now. Third land fetched up for Daryl Ayers. It's his second volcanic island. See the Stifle in his hand, see the Spell Pierce in his hand. You think the reason he didn't Spell Pierce the Blood Artist was sorry, right.
In with the mongooses. Brainstorm. There's a Stifle there.
Right, sorry. Spell Pierce is non-creature spell, so it can't target Blood Artist.
And a Snapcaster.
So, Threshold turned on for Daryl Ayers. 7 cards in his graveyard. Battles Sam Black down to 9. What's Sam's comeback scenario here?
Prayer. So it does not look super exciting. I mean, if he can...
And there's a Delver.
Can't even get pressure on by finding... I suppose it is all about Bloodghasts and getting them in and out of the graveyard and constantly sacking.
Right.
And finding ways, therefore, to essentially negate a lot of the damage that's happening by draining off the Blood Artist.
Right.
That's how he slows the game. So that's that's potentially good news, because now everything that dies is a 2-point life swing. Carrot Feeder will attack.
But if he, I mean, we knew that was going to transform.
Sure.
Because we knew Daryl put the Stifle on top of it.
Oh, that's a beating.
That looks like it's game 1 to me.
Well,
no, he's going to gain the 2.
He gets to gain with assorted sacrificing. So that's a 2-point swing.
And then he's going to do it again.
And then a 1-point swing.
Right.
But
which is going to get stifled.
Yes. On the Carrion Feeder.
So it's still going to get sacrificed. The life drain is still going to happen.
Uh-huh. But Sam will only be at 12 very momentarily as he takes a lot of damage.
And we're going to go to game 2.
Shortly after that, he's done. Nimble Mongoose not being 1-1. Nimble Mongoose not being 1-1. And Delver of Secrets not being 1-1.
Right.
Blood Artist, meanwhile, being 0-1. And the Carrion Feeders being very briefly a 2-2. And that's it. And there's your difference.
Yeah, I think...
Game 1, the players get to look at their respective opponents' sideboards and decks. At this point, work out what people are bringing in.
Fork Bolt certainly stays in.
So, meanwhile, it's 1-0 on both All the other tables, 1-0 to Ben Stark, Maverick over Blue-White Delver. 1-0 to Rug Delver, Garenis Fidugiris over Sawyer Lucy with his Goblins. And 1-0 to Michael Major with Esper Stoneblade up against Belcher of Gerardo Fedon. Here, 1-0 to Daryl Ayers with Rug Delver over Zombies and Sam Black. So all 4 quarterfinals heading for game 2.
This is a rough matchup for Sam. He's got to lay early pressure on with some of his hand disruption, with thought seize and whatnot, in order to have any kind of chance in the match. He can generate a lot of life loss with Lingering Souls and Carrion Feeder with the Blood Artists.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? Because if the card that was missing that game entirely was Bloodghast, and that's what we saw do unreal things for him in multiples. If he can get that sort of 3 of Carrion Feeder, Bloodghast, and Blood Artist, at that point he's probably going to be able to reach a point where he can gain sufficient life whilst being hit for 3 with Nimble Mongoose and 3 by Insectile Aberrations to slow the game enough that his Carrion Feeder will eventually become, 6, 7, 8,
large enough,
and is starting to pile in and force Daryl to go, must have something back. What was something, it dies, and then the race becomes harder and harder. So it's a kind of downhill process for Sam, in the sense of he wants to get the ball rolling early, and then if he can get himself up just a little and then start pulling the pieces together, and then it starts properly rolling, and then suddenly the Nimble Mongoose are going to get outclassed. Now, what won't get outclassed particularly is Tarmogoyf. That takes a lot of dealing with. But then again, Sam has the opportunity. He has the tragic slip.
Well, again,
he has the chance to bring in things like Vindicate, go for the throat.
The biggest
perish.
The biggest that Tarmogoyf is going to be in this match, I'm pretty sure, is 4/5. Sorcery, land, instant creature.
Okay.
No planeswalkers, no artifacts, unless Daryl is going to bring in those Grafdigger's cages, which...
Python Needle from... No.
Well,
so basically 4/5 is as big as they get.
I don't know. Do you bring in Grafdigger's cage? Do you just prevent them from coming in from the... Gravecrawler and Bloodghast are serious parts of the engine of Sam's deck. And he's got to know that that's the case. Grafdigger's Gauge probably does come in for Daryl Ayers, which means the Vindicate or Disenchant probably comes in for...
Yeah, in some ways it's surprising, given that we've seen no Grizzlebrands in the top 8, no Reanimator, that Sam has managed to avoid, almost as collateral damage, that whatever Graveyard Hate went into Reanimator not making it back. Now, admittedly, Gilded Drake is part of the package that people have played against Reanimator, and that's not something that particularly does a lot against Sam, although in theory you could run that against a gigantic Carrion Feeder as you watch it get to 8/8 and then steal it, but I don't know. I'm just slightly surprised Sam managed to dodge the Graveyard Hate that was around sufficiently. So Sam will look for a fairly explosive start here in Game 2. All the other matches still in Game 2 as well. And we'll look for updates as we can get them. You see in the background of our last couple of shots there, you see Garenis Vidigiris playing up against Sawyer Lucy. Lucy reaching out there, and then behind Sam Black, you have the match between Majors and Fedon. Corey McDuffie in the background there watching on.
No, actually, I think the Fedon match is out here on the floor. That's the...
Oh, okay.
That's the
Stark Adelcamp. That was Adelcamp.
Yep. I see it. I see all the Tampa guys hovered around that table, so that must be the Fedon match. also see a fist pump from one of the Tampa guys.
I drew one later on.
And we're at 1-1. Okay, someone's happy.
I wouldn't have taken the stifle because that would be therapy.
All right, clearly Sam will be on the play here, having lost game 1.
Probably just leave the goose or something.
Todd Anderson having a look at the top 8. He was nicely positioned overnight, lost his first couple today, and didn't get back into the mix.
If you leave stifle open after I know about it, like that's probably not going to happen. And if you do, then I can therapy it. If not, then it doesn't matter. So there's no way I take stifle.
And if you're playing my stifle, you probably don't care if I stifle.
Okay, boys, you've had your 3 minutes.
I don't know, man. Here's what I got for us.
Even in untimed rounds, players are responsible for.
So truthfully, that is never enforced.
This is
3 minutes.
This is not correct.
No, I still.
Okay. At about 5 minutes, sometimes someone will come in and say, "You've been at this a while, boys. How about we play some Magic?"
I actually,
But
especially
rarely is
in feature matches and whatnot, especially with guys watching, judges will keep a clock on it. We had a situation in Barcelona that came up.
Oh, of course, yes.
We had a situation in Honolulu that came up. I've certainly warned players for that. And generally, it's the preemptive. Hey, you're at 2.5 minutes. You guys probably want to start presenting. I mean, 'cause you don't really want to be too hard edged about it.
Sure.
But at the same time, you don't want them wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in timed matches, you don't want them wasting time. And certainly when the clock is a factor, you don't want them wasting time.
We are away with Carrion Feeder for Sam Black. I can tell you that we have our first semi-finalist. Michael Majors has defeated Gerardo Fadon by 2-0. The Belcher is gone, and Esper Stoneblade will advance.
So Sam Black started off with a carrion feeder, which is getting into the red zone. Daryl Ayers, as predicted, turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage.
And now Sam will run out Bitter Blossom, and that is going to be met with a force of will. I can tell you that Adelkamp has broken his duck against Ben Stark. He has equalized to make it 1 apiece. They will play a decider for who gets to meet the winner of Vidugiris and Lucy. Vidugiris currently with Rug Delver leading the Goblins of Sawyer Lucy by 1-0.
We see 2 lightning bolts in the hand of Daryl Ayers. Those will probably not get used until Carrion Feeder has 2 counters on it and then sacks a 3rd creature. Or maybe even 3 counters and sacks a 4th. Into the red zone, Carrion Feeder. Again, we see, and there's a Gravecrawler. Is that 3 lightning bolts in Daryl Ayers' hand?
2 and a Forked Bolt, I think.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Plus Nimble Mongoose and Tarmogoyf.
Which is already 3/4. Well, will be already 3.
Tarmogoyf has power and toughness in all zones,
Correct.
so and the hand is a zone.
3, correct.
Yeah.
So if you had something that said activated ability that said put a creature with power
3 or greater
into play,
you
sure.
can say my Tarmogoyf is 3/4.
Correct. There's the Nimble Mongoose.
Or if it ever got big enough, appetite for something, an appetite for brain style card that was based
Right.
on power and
Gravecrawler.
Yep.
Without that Graph Digger's cage, Sam Black's board is pretty spicy.
Yes, as it is. Here's a lightning bolt for carry and feeder. We've got Forked Bolt, we know, in Ayers' hand. That is potentially going to 2 for 1.
Yes. And
He's brought it to the front.
Nobody's blocking.
Here we go. Dink, dink. Put him in the bin. It's a very, very fine start for Ayers with that Graph Digger's cage. 5 cards for Black. He will be every bit as nervous now as he was at the start of the match, which is to say not at all.
Right. And
Here's
there's
Blood Artist. In with the Mongoose.
5 cards in Ayers' graveyard, so he is still 2 away from threshold. There's a second Mongoose, which has to be not good news for Sam Black. We see he's got a Lingering Souls in his hand. He doesn't have a white source.
Please, sir, may I have another carrion feeder? Well, I'm going to respond by by killing your Blood Artist.
We see a Daze in Ayers' hand. And he draws another Mongoose.
In we come.
Still just for 2.
Gently, yes. What did you call them? Underachieving? No, that was the Delvers, wasn't it, that were underachieving? That was Rashad Miller, in fact. I confuse the two of you all the time.
Well, I mean, devastatingly sexy applies to both of us, so.
It's a family show. 3 land. And now here's Lingering Souls. Or is it?
Well, there's a Daze in his hand,
Yeah, so no it isn't.
which then turns on the Mongooses. So instead of 2, it's 6. And
And very, very soon,
you kind of got to
Darrell Ayers is
feel
going to be in.
the inevitability here for Sam Black.
This,
He's probably not going to draw a blocker. Lingering Souls. But he can cast one.
in we come. Sam running out of cards, running out of life, running out of time and options.
He's going to take it. I guess he figured the only way he can win is by having guys.
Wasteland away. Untap.
So Tarmogoyf, Nimble Mongoose in hand for Darrell Ayers.
Sam looks.
Sam's going to, I mean, especially with that Wasteland, Sam's just going to have to hang it out there, crack his fetch land to get his white source to be able to. Oh no, he doesn't need one to flashback Lingering Souls.
Sam never been further than the semis of a GP, 2 quarterfinals and a semi. It's starting to look like 3 quarterfinals and a semi. There you see him. Trying to puzzle his way out. Thoughtseize. Let's have a look. Tarmogoyf, Nimble Mongoose, land. Sam's at 2. Sam's at 1.
Yeah, but I mean, Lightning Bolt kills him one way or the other. So it
Oh,
really doesn't
sure,
matter.
yeah. Off he goes in search of something. Apart from anything else, it's a shame we haven't seen the deck in action again one more time. Because it's a lot of fun, Sam Black's deck.
It is. It's the kind of deck that I would probably play if I were playing Legacy.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll write about it, so you'll get to find out more about it and how it came together. In and Darrell Ayers untaps. Brainstorm, Shore, Wasteland, Stifle, Spell Pierce.
Oh yeah, Grafdigger's Cage shuts off the flashback. He can't cast them out of the graveyard anyway.
Wasteland away your remaining white source.
In the case of a Vindicate.
Send in the boys. Chump each side. There they go. Sacrifice them both to the carrion feeder. Sam has a go for the throat in hand. Not that that's going to save him. There's the handshake. And Darrell Ayers advances to the semi-finals and qualifies for the Pro Tour.
That's pretty important.
Because it's kind of a big deal.
Right.
Winning the quarterfinals of a Grand Prix these days.
If you're not already qualified.
Yes.
As Sam Black most certainly is.
So congratulations to Darrell Ayers. He blunts the zombie assault. And Darrell Ayers will advance to play Michael Majors with Esper Stoneblade in the semi-finals.
Yeah,